What happens when a powerful country imposes restrictions and the smaller country refuses to simply accept them? That is the question at the heart of the growing diplomatic tension between the United States and Burkina Faso. When Washington imposed entry restrictions on Burkina Faso, many expected Ouagadougou to negotiate quietly, seek exemptions, or simply absorb the pressure. But Burkina Faso chose a different path: reciprocity. And suddenly, this was no longer just about visas. It became a question of sovereignty, dignity, and whether African nations are willing to redefine their relationships with powerful countries. The dispute didn't begin at an airport. It began with Washington citing concerns over national security, foreign policy, counter-terrorism screening, and immigration enforcement. But there was another point of tension. The United States had reportedly approached Burkina Faso about accepting deported foreign nationals. Ouagadougou rejected the idea, making it clear that Burkina Faso would not become a destination for people who are not its citizens simply because another country wants them removed. For Burkina Faso's leadership, the message was straightforward. Sovereignty works both ways. And then came the reciprocal restrictions. For ordinary people, however, these decisions are far from theoretical. Think about the student whose plans suddenly collapse, the business person whose international trip is disrupted, the family separated by a diplomatic decision made thousands of miles away. This is where the issue becomes complicated. Supporters of Burkina Faso's position see the move as a powerful statement. A country's economic size should not determine whether its sovereignty deserves respect. But critics could ask an equally important question. What happens after the statement is made? Because resistance can say, no. Strategy has to answer, what happens next? That is the real challenge facing Burkina Faso. A reciprocal passport policy may send a powerful political message, but it cannot feed a family, repair a road, create jobs, or keep the electricity running. The bigger test is whether Burkina Faso can transform this new sovereignty-centered approach into tangible economic strength. Can it increase domestic production? Can it strengthen agriculture and infrastructure? Can it create more local industries and value from its own resources? And perhaps most importantly, can it reduce dependence on traditional external partners without simply replacing one dependency with another? Burkina Faso is also not walking this road alone. Together with Mali and Niger, it is part of the Alliance of Sahel States, a bloc increasingly emphasizing sovereignty, regional cooperation, and greater independence from traditional Western influence. That makes Burkina Faso's decision bigger than Burkina Faso itself. Other African governments are watching. They are asking, can this new approach actually work? Because sovereignty sounds powerful in a speech, but real sovereignty is measured in what a country can produce, build, protect, and provide for its people. And that is where the story gets truly interesting. Burkina Faso may have chosen to push back against Washington, but the ultimate victory will not come from refusing a visa or making a diplomatic statement. It will come if ordinary Burkinabè citizens eventually have more opportunities, stronger infrastructure, better services, and greater economic security. That is the real meaning of independence. This moment, therefore, is about much more than the United States and Burkina Faso. It is about a changing Africa and a growing demand for relationships based not on dependency, but on mutual interest, mutual respect, and reciprocity. The question now is simple. Will Burkina Faso turn this bold political stand into lasting economic strength? Because history will remember the speeches, but people will remember the results.